Okay, so in this video what we're going to do is we're going to look at solving equations, and we're going to solve, this question is from the review. It's called MIAP Solving Equations Assignment on the very top of the page right there. And we're going to have a look at number 8. Okay, so negative 8 has this negative here, and it's got a bunch of fractions in it. So let's see if we can figure out how to deal with it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the question, and I'm going to rewrite it so that there is extra space so that I can do my work in it. So I've got my minus 5, and then I've got my 3x plus 1. That's all over 2 equals 5 over 7 minus x plus 1 over 4. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want to try to eliminate the fractions that are there. What is my lowest common denominator that I could use so that that'll happen? I've got a 2, a 7, and a 4. 28. Now, why did you choose 28? Because 28 is the smallest number that goes into all three of those. Okay, all right, so we're going to choose 28. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply every single term by 28. Now, a term is something that is separated by a plus, minus, or equals. Okay. Now, let's reduce out our, you see how we have this denominator, and now we have this thing that we're multiplying it by 28, right? So you can think of it as 28 over 2. How would you reduce that? How would you reduce 28 over 2? Okay, so take a 2 out of the 28 and you're left with 14. So here, how would you reduce 28 over 7? What can you take out of the 28? Take a 7 out of the 28, you're left with 4. Okay, now here, what are we going to take out of the 28? We're going to take out the 4, and what are we left with? Okay, so I'm going to rewrite what I have just so that you can see it better. This is what's left. Okay, don't forget to write these connecting signs that are there because they hold a lot of importance of place value and what operation needs to happen next, okay? Because whatever this is here, it's going to be subtracted from the value of this. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to distribute my numbers through. We're going to multiply it out and just clean it up. Okay, now here I've got a 14, and I've also got a negative 5, and then I have a bracket in here. You have two choices. You can multiply the 14 and the negative 5 together first, and then get that number, or you could multiply the negative 5 through this bracket. What would you like to do? You want to multiply the negative 5 through? Okay, so now I've got 14, and I need to keep that bracket there because that's this bracket. So now multiply the negative 5 through here and here, and we end up getting negative 15x minus 5. And that is equal to, so I'm going to continue multiplying things through and distributing, just kind of cleaning it up. So what's 4 times 5? 20. And now I'm going to distribute this negative 7 through this second bracket. Now when I do that, I end up with negative, so you see I don't need to write that negative again because it's right here. That's that negative. So I'm just going to write 7x, and then negative 7 times 1 is, so my negative, it looks like my minus 7. So I've got that now. All right, so what is the next step? Take the 14 and multiply it through. So what's 14 times negative 15? Negative 210 x. And then what is 14 times negative 5? Pardon me? Negative 70. Okay. So I've got 20, and I'm going to You have a choice here. Do you want to clean this up a little? Yeah? Okay. So let's combine this 20 and that -7. What does that be? So that's 13. And then I have -7x. Why don't I combine that x with those other numbers that are there? Why don't I combine the, why do I leave this -7x by itself here? Because it has an x. It's not a constant. It's not a like term. It's different, right? Okay. And now what am I going to do over here? I'm going to, okay, so I'm going to try to isolate my x's on one side of the equal sign and the constants on the other side. So let's add 70 on both sides. Now that makes a 0, so that's gone. That's a 0. And now what about for this side? What do I need to move over onto the other side? The 7x, so I can add a 7x on both sides. I have to do it here too. Okay, and this makes a 0. So this is now gone. This is now gone. It's disappeared. It's become 0. And now what are we left with on this side here? -203x equals 83. And the next thing I'm going to do is divide both sides by -203. And we end up with x is equal to -83 over 203. And there is your answer. So another thing, notice when you're solving equations, make sure you're working downwards, okay? You only ever have one equal sign on a line. You're not allowed to have them, you know, like 2 equal signs in a row. You can't work across. Good?